Hey, welcome to the No Life Kings podcast. I'm Dravs. And coming to you in issue 45, we're going to talk about the Moonknight trailer, Reacher, Book of Boba Fett, and the Halo trailer that launched. All right, Case?
Does a trailer launch nowadays? Is that what we're going with?
I guess a release.
Became ephemeral. Anyhow, what are we talking about? Yeah. What's the first one? What is the first thing we're talking about?
The Moonknight trailer.
The Moonknight trailer. Do you even know anything about Moonknight?
I know that he is a superhero. I know that he is mentally ill, or at least
is he a superhero?
He's a hero.
Is he a hero? Here's a question.
He has.
If there's a comic book with Moonknight in it, where Moonknight cuts the person's face off, and then as part of stopping that person from doing criminal activities, does that make him a hero?
Makes him a vigilante.
So cutting faces off is okay.
I didn't say it's okay. I said it made him a vigilante.
All right, so he's not a hero.
Apparently not. Not if he's doing that.
Depends on the comics you read, of course. He was a mercenary also. So are mercenaries hero? Don't know. He is not Marvel's Batman, even though he is rich and wears a big long cape and kind of looks like Batman. Technically, he's not.
Technically, he's not Batman?
Well, he's not like the answer. Like, you know how technically... Well,
pretty literally not Batman. He's Moon Knight.
Well, right. But what I mean by that is Black Cat was the answer to Catwoman in Marvel. Mm-hmm. And for Superman, you had his name. I can't remember. He is in that book right there. I'm pointing at on my wall. I can't remember. Supreme, I think was his name. Is that right? I could be wrong. Anyhow, in this case, it wasn't like, hey, we need our dark vigilante at night person. He was more of, like you said, he's mentally ill and kind of crazy. So I've actually tried to read a lot.
So is Batman. So is Batman. Let's be honest.
He just likes he's a rich person who couldn't have enough friends to start his own fight club, so he just goes out and punches the poor people.
He's rich and nuts. That's Batman's superpowers.
He just
rich
and
nuts.
He just wants to punch poor people. It's fine. We've all been there before. Wait, that sounds bad.
What? Yeah, it sounds really bad. What are you doing, Case?
So Moonknight, back to it, for those who don't know, he's actually from the 70s, I think is when they started writing, when Moonknight came around. Depending on what story arc you read, it changes. So there was a run, I think Bendis ran it, where he actually was, like, he is mentally ill. Multiple personality disorder, I think is what they claim it to be, but I don't know if that's actually the terminology that's used anymore, or even actually a real disorder. Oh, dissociative identity disorder is what it is, maybe. I'm not sure. In the early comics, he was a mercenary, and he gets killed, and the Egyptian god, Kanish? How would you say Chonsu? Kanush? I don't know.
I guess you go with Kanoosh.
Khonshu? Maybe it's Khonshu. It might be Khonshu. Embows him as to become his, like, guardian on Earth. But in the comics, he kind of wants to take over the world also at the same time. So he's not like, oh, hey, come and protect people. He's more like, create the world in my image so I can come and rule the world. Is kind of what he does, wants to happen. So he imbues him with all these superpowers. So unlike Batman, he isn't just like technology. He has like super strength, super speed, and all those other things. So in the early comics, he was a mercenary that died and got his powers, but he also used his money to pretend to be multiple different people. So like he would be a cab driver because he would use his cab driver personality to like find the crime, right? And then he would also be a movie star, I think was the other thing he was. And so he had all these different personalities and he would switch between them all the time. And I think at first he wasn't had the disorder, and then they basically made it like, oh, because he keeps on switching between all these different personalities, he like kind of like lost control of himself. That was like the earlier stuff. Then you had like Bendis. He wrote some books where like he actually thought he was Spider-Man and Wolverine and stuff for a while. Like he like imagined that they were there with him when he went to fight crime. And then like whenever Wolverine was fighting, it was really him using fake claws in his hands because like it was projecting that he was Wolverine. It was odd. The one I talked about where he cut the guy's face off, that was Warren Ellis run. And that one was actually, that was kind of interesting. And the current run is after he tried to take over the world. He is now back to the street level and is more of like a preacher of Khonshu and still has his multiple personality thing. But like he has like a ministry on the street and people can come in and ask for help. He only shows up in his costume now. And it's actually pretty decent, enjoyable. But again, it is usually horrible things happen and he does not care if he kills people at all. he'll, like I said, cut people's faces off. But he has really cool white suits. Really cool white suits. So I don't know anything about the storyline that they're doing here because there's so many different ways they can go with it. Obviously, I think in the promos, he's a U.S. Marine, so he's not a military. He's not a mercenary, right? He was super rich. I don't know from the trailers if you're getting that super rich thing vibe or not. So I'm not sure where they're going. The trailer's pretty decent, though. What do you think?
I mean, it looked really decent. I like Oscar Isaac in the role. I guess Kevin Bacon's in here too.
You mean Ethan Hawke?
Is that Ethan Hawke?
That's Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
Or do you mean Gaspard Ullian?
No.
Well, that's
I don't
definitely
mean that other person.
You definitely mean Ethan Hawke. I think that's who you. It definitely. I can see how.
Oh
you would
yeah,
see
I definitely mean Ethan Hawke after looking at this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
He plays Arthur Harrow, and I don't actually know who that character is. I only know Mark Spector, which is Moonknight. You do get some stuff from this trailer that, like, it seems that like in the trailer a lot, he like wakes up and be like, where am I? Like, why am I here? Why am I in the back of this taxi and stuff? So he's definitely having some kind of like losing control of his own reality happening. So it could be I think it's going to be a nice intro to, I want to say this is, maybe I'm wrong. Is this the first MCU movie with, like, maybe not horror, but like more of a dark, scary vibe?
It's a good question. I guess one thing is, Doctor Strange really did end up being as scary as people thought it would be.
It wasn't at all scary.
No, it wasn't.
It was.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Kung Fu magic.
It's a good point. There's a lot of genres in the MCU, and horror is not one of them.
And it might just be like because horror is that one where it's like, well, most people like horrors that are rated R, and Disney doesn't want to do an MCR rated movie, so they kind of shy away, right? But maybe the weird part is, do you know what the rating of this is?
I mean, I don't think it's rated because it's on Disney Plus, or do they still have to rate it?
Well, I think Disney definitely still rates their stuff that's on it. So that's why I was wondering. That's why I wonder if they're rating somewhere, because they tend to, because people, since it's Disney, a lot of people let their kids watch Disney Plus because of Mickey Mouse. So they kind of put ratings up for parents. Apparently they're saying it's going to be PG-13.
Yeah.
But we'll see. It hasn't been official yet. So it'll be interesting to see how far they go, because even if they take it to a certain level, it will still be one of the more dark things you could probably even find on Disney Plus. So I'm optimistic.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, so I'm pretty optimistic about it. It could be an interesting new realm, because again, it opens up, because you're saying like Doctor Strange in the multiverse. Doctor Strange tends to deal with monsters and creatures from other dimensions and has like a more darker feel to it. If you remember in the What Ifs, when the What If Doctor Strange where he became evil, that was very dark. And so maybe this is like testing the waters to see if they can start introducing some of those more darker characters they have in their bullpen.
Yeah, for sure. I think that what's really interesting is if Marvel's able to take Moon Knight in a dark direction, could we see some darker Star Wars content, you think? Because that is something that could get me interested in Star Wars again.
Ooh, but I don't even know what you do. What would be a darker Star Wars than Darth Vader?
I mean, like there's Old Republic stuff. I mean, like the Darth Vitiate. I think like some of the stuff he did would border on that like sort of like category. Another one, guy who like could just feed on Force. Darth Nihilus, who was like basically like a wound in the Force, who did some really messed up stuff.
Wait,
you could see like more of like a psychological thriller.
You say he was
like,
a wound in the Force?
That's what he was described as. Yes.
Okay, I don't understand the wound. That's
I
fine.
don't either, but that. Anyways,
we've had this Force discussion before.
Anyways,
we can talk more about the Star Wars dark place when we talk about Boba Fett.
Yeah, sure. So, I don't know. I guess I'm excited for Moon Knight. Comes out March 30th, I think, is what I saw.
Yes, sir.
Should be fun. So I had some fun over the weekend because I binge watched Reacher. Case.
Which one?
The one that's on Amazon Prime.
Wait, is that the one with the guy from Quiet Place?
No.
What's that?
That's Tom Clancy. That's called Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan. Yes, I was confusing Jack Ryan and Reacher because I kept on seeing the Reacher Amazon promotion, and I'd be like, "Wait, I thought this other dude was playing this character."
I know, because one's Jack Reacher and the other one's
yes.
Jack Ryan. Yeah.
Wait, is Reacher the film that Tom Hanks did?
You mean Tom Cruise?
Tom Cruise, yes.
Yes.
Filmed in Pittsburgh, my favorite town.
That's right.
Just letting you know. That's all that matters.
And there was a sequel that didn't get quite as well received.
Didn't have Tom Cruise in it.
No, they did. In the sequel, they did.
No, they did not.
Yeah, they did.
No. Because
There's 2 movies where Tom Cruise plays Reacher.
No.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it one more time. No. I'm now. Why don't you tell us about Reacher on Amazon Prime and if it's good to watch? Because you did binge it apparently. As I looked this up, to be like, whoa, there was 2. I mean, I haven't got there yet. I'm just looking it up as you tell us about the Amazon one.
Anyways, the Amazon one's good. I really like it. Alan Richardson, who plays Reacher, I think is more close to the novels. So like Jack Reacher in the novels is like a very big guy. He's 6'5", 200 something pounds, and is, I think 250 is what they describe him at. And and sort of with Tom Cruise in the role, they had sort of like I'm blanking on the guy that wrote the Jack Reacher books. I am in no way looking this up right now. No, Lee Child, sort of explained it in the casting of Cruise, saying that, Tom Cruise sort of like portrays Jack Reacher's size like in his own way, and he was okay with it. But I would say that this version of Reacher is definitely closer to the book, like kind of a less charismatic, less charming, more brutalistic, more militaristic, more sort of, and just larger physically, like version of the character. I think that they got an actor to match the physicality, and I think it was a little slow to start. I think it took a little while to warm up, but it was a fun show to watch. I'm looking forward to season 2. I think this season was based on the book called The Killing Floor, and I think that there's some places that they can go with the series that I think are kind of interesting. I don't want to give too much away, Case, because you haven't seen it yet. But
is it action or is it like, I don't know?
It's more of a mystery. It's like a mystery with like some action elements in it.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean,
because the first Jack Reacher is more well. When I say first Jack Reacher, the one that Tom Cruise is the only one he wasn't in. There was never a movie called Jack Reacher Never Go Back ever came out between filmings of Mission Impossible and Rogue Nation and The Mummy. That didn't exist. So he's only in one. And in that Tom Cruise one, I just remember more of like he was always running around punching people. I don't remember like any like espionage stuff. I know he was like trained that way. Ooh, that was the one where he had to shoot a guy from across the way with a sniper rifle, or he got shot. I can't remember which. Anyhow, that is all.
Yeah. So I don't know.
So watch it.
I
almost clicked on it today to tell the truth, but then I looked at it and said, "Oh, this is that other thing that Tom, the one with the other guy on it from Quiet Place, whose name I cannot remember for the life of me." And I said, "I don't want to watch that."
Yeah, I think my only comment is it's a bit of a slow burn. So like to get into it, you're gonna kind of have to like commit to watching at least 1 or 2 episodes, like full episodes, and then I think it starts to open up a little bit. It's like I say, it's more of a mystery than it is like the way the Tom Cruise movies were done, which is like kind of like just like the plot is just some sort of excuse to get him into the next action scene.
So here's a question: will I be willing to go through 2 episodes to see the third?
Yeah, I think you would be. I would say that like I'd say episode 1 is just a little slow, but I mean they're building, and I don't know, it's good. I would give it an 8 out of 10.
Ooh, that's better than 10 out of 10.
No, it's not. But moving on.
That's a good segue.
The Book of Boba Fett.
What? What about Halo Combat Evolved? I mean, Halo the TV series.
Do you wanna do that next?
Yeah, that's the order we're going.
Okay, fine.
Anyhow,
I mean,
go ahead.
So, talking about the Halo trailer, it is funny because Case will be quick to remind people that in the pre-production, I was like, "Oh, Halo trailer." I remember.
I'm gonna remind all those people that were in that pre-production with us.
I remember, like, it was like, "Oh, I thought it was interesting." I had misremembered what I had watched, and I actually went back and watched this Halo trailer again, and genuinely, I wonder, why did we need this, and why did we need it this way? Like, the game is fun sometimes, and like, or at least it was at one point. And did we really need a TV show? Like, it's just weird. Like the game, even the game has gotten stale. Honestly, it's the same stuff over and over again.
Hey, now.
What, you like the Halo series?
Well, I mean, what do you mean by like? It is one of the best games in the 90s, the 2000s, to go out to a bar, drink a lot, come home at 1 a.m. and play till 4 a.m. and then wake up and forget that you played it for 4 hours.
Sure, but I'm saying like now in 2022.
I have been playing Halo Infinity recently, and I do think
It's pronounced Infinite.
Infinite. I do think it has some interesting, fun things to do in the world, and it's more open world, and it has some stuff to it. It's very lighter. It's lighter on the story than other Halo series have been.
Yeah.
But it's still enjoyable. I still have fun. I still like the concept of Master Chief. I personally think, I don't know, there's nothing against them having a Halo movie, right? They had Halo TV series. They had a Mario Brothers movie, and they're making another Mario Brothers movie. Do we need a Mario Brothers movie? No. But they're making more of them, right? So I understand that's a known IP, and it is the IP that has built the Xbox franchise for Microsoft, right? So they're going to take that character as far as it will go and try to make as much money as possible. So that's why it exists. What I don't understand is why the story that it seems to be telling in the trailers is not the Halo story. It seems to be like trying to make it some kind of weird conversation about technology being used for military reasons, like with mind control and stuff like that. And it's not about the discovery of this Halo and how it affects our growth as a human society.
I think some of that's coming just because they have the Covenant in it, but I don't know. Maybe you're right. You are right. From the trailer, it does not seem like they are telling the Halo story.
Yes. So mostly because it's like, oh, here's that evil. Like they basically have the Dr. Pablo, is that his name? I can't remember. No, that's not the. No, that's
Pablo Schreiber's the guy that voices
Master
Chief.
Chief. Dr. Kathleen Elizabeth, the head scientist, just looks evil. like this. Maybe again, we haven't seen it. Just saw the trailer, but it's like, wait, she's not good either in the Halo series per se, but is this like, oh, it's more of a sequel to that Starship Troopers than the actual Halo thing. And the reason I say this too is I read all the Halo books. I don't remember. Maybe I read most of the Halo books, so I do know some things. But the first Halo book, which is Halo: The Fall of Reach, is about how John became Master Chief and like the process and like them finding him as a was he poor? I can't remember. Like, and basically building him into this Master Chief. Why he has the Spartan into him, what genetics markers they look for in his body and became this person. I think that would be a cooler TV series, is the growth of Master Chief. And then the next season would be, all right, now let's talk about Halo. Because you like build up this whole like the actual entity of Master Chief versus being like, oh, there's a bunch of Spartans everywhere. Why? And there's no like explanation why Master Chief is special, why he's actually the lead Spartan. Anyway.
Yeah.
Really good. I really enjoyed the book. Again, read it, 2001, so it might not be good anymore if I read it now. But it was something I really enjoyed, and I thought it was a really cooler look into what the UNSC was doing with the Spartans and why they were built and stuff like that. Anyway, I don't know. I'm not excited about the Halo TV series, but you know what I'm really not excited about?
Were you ever excited about like in a Halo expanded universe beyond the games? I mean, you read the books, but like, were you just bored? Were you actually?
No, so Halo is one of those games where the first, like, again, every game I played with friends co-oping the whole thing. So there is this like experience I have with these games where it's like, for a while it was sitting on the couch together beating them, right? And then for a while I was like getting online because we moved to different cities and beating them together. So it was like more of that plus the story versus like the inner ins and outs of the Covenant and the Flood and all that jazz. Like totally the current story is like, I don't even know what's happening.
Would kind of be cool to see the Flood in live action. That'd be kind of.
I think they show it. There's a scene where the lead doctor is walking and there's like a flood monster and it seems like she's controlling them. Because remember, military scientist evil has to happen.
Yeah.
Not true, but it's just one of those things that like it seems too like a generic sci-fi show versus a Halo show. Yeah. But speaking of things that we don't care about and shouldn't exist, let's talk about the Book of Boba Fett that neither of us could finish.
I'm working on it.
Are you going to finish it?
I want to.
Do you?
Maybe.
So I've had this problem.
I've been having a problem with it too, in that it's very hard to watch. I've been trying.
First off, the first episode, I'll give it like, okay, you're setting stuff up. The second episode was It was basically dancing. It was Dancing with Wolves. It was, hey, let's not like Boba Fett has no armor now, and he's just gonna wander around in a white tidy outfit till he earns his native costume that he gains by gaining their trust. And it's like, like if you want to do Boba Fett, just do Boba Fett. Don't do like this weird other thing. And then they introduce spice on the world. It's like, ooh, the spice might run. Hey, look, because Doom was popular. Let's put the spice in there on that desert planet.
Is that where it's like?
I have no idea what the spice is. I don't know what that means, by the way. This isn't the second episode they mentioned spice. Maybe it's something completely different.
No, it's. I think it's basically the same thing in both universes. It's like this hallucinogenic type drug.
Well, Dune had it before Star Wars existed.
Yeah, well, so then I
But
mean, Lucas may have just like copied it as a
well,
joke and then just
Lucas
became an
copied a lot.
expanded thing.
Lucas copied a lot of things from old movies, right? Seven Samurai, the combat style of the X-wing battles were really taken from World War II movies, stuff like that. I'm not saying he's a bad director. I'm just saying every director learns from other things, right? And so I'm not. It's just weird. It's like, but what Boba Fett has taught me, and then there's also the fact that then it went to fan service for a while for a few episodes, and so I don't want to deal with that. I think what Boba Fett has taught me, and this is going to be maybe not surprising. I don't think I like the Star Wars universe. I'm not saying I don't like Star Wars, parts of Star Wars. I just don't think that like the whole concept of the Star Wars universe is something I care about at all.
So it's very funny. I feel like we have done a flip during the pandemic where I really didn't care about the Star Wars universe. Now I'm kind of actually intrigued by it because I've read so many of the books. But Book of Boba Fett is a book I don't need.
But it's like
This-
even there's later series where like the Mark Hamill's back. I mean, the fake Mark Hamill's back and fake voices are back. Okay, maybe that's just bad decisions in general. They introduce other characters that are just fan services like, oh, we mentioned these other people in different books, and people get like kind of excited about that. But I'm like, I don't think I care. Like, well, like the MCU, even though Eternals was a bad movie, I kind of wanted to see them because I'm like, oh, I know the Eternals. I read these books. I understand this stuff. But nothing in like, I don't need to see Luke Skywalker anymore. I've seen him. I've seen his story. I don't really need to see Darth Vader anymore. I've seen it. I've seen his story. I don't need a special C3PO, C3
EO.
and R2D2 showing up in every movie for comic relief. I mean, I've seen them. Like I just feel there's no, and I'm only talking about the TV series and the movies. I never read the books. I read some comics, but there never seems to be any, because I'm air quoting this, expanded universe. It's just this narrow, tiny universe. Or at least with like the MCU, and I read comic books my whole life in both DC and Marvel, and I'm not even that much in DC, but they have a huge, like they dive into like there's books about hell, there's a book about heaven, there's books about, far off star worlds, not Star Wars, but far off galaxies. There's fake gods, there's real gods, there's stuff inside of the planets, there's different planets, there's multiple universes. Like it's expanded, right? Where Star Wars is like, here is 30 years, well, maybe 100 years of this one tiny little 4 planets in this area. And I just don't, I just wish it would expand, but it's really just that tiny little thumbnail. And I just think I've come to the point where I'm like, I'll watch something even if it's good, and I'll give it a try, but I'm not going to slog through it because I'm hoping to see that little like, oh, hey, that's that Mandalorian there that I liked, right?
Yeah.
Where like MCU, I would actually do that. Like Eternals was bad, but it wasn't bad enough. Like I'm glad I saw it though also. And if they came up with another movie that was not getting good reviews or whatever, I'd probably go see it because I'm still interested in that universe to see like, where is this universe going? Like Moonknight, let's see where it goes. It's a total different style. It feels different. You have like, Doctor Strange, which is like almost like a kung fu magic story. You have like Peter Parker doing multiverse stuff. You have WandaVision, which is like more of like a story about how they dealt with grief. You have, you have all these different genres. We've just talked about this earlier. They have all these different genres in the MCU. So even if you have a bad one, it's just like a new genre, it's a new taste, it's a new thing, where Star Wars is just Star Wars over and over and over again. There's too much sand in this world is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, the other thing too is like, I know that it starts to shift as you get deeper into the series, but it feels a lot like The Mandalorian Part 2, and I did not need Mandalorian Part 2. Like, I really think that they would have been better off launching the Kenobi series and then coming back to Boba Fett. just to give people a break from, sort of like the Mandalorian branch of the Star Wars universe, which basically what Boba Fett is now off of.
Yeah.
Just because of the way that he sort of like came into the came into the Star Wars universe.
That's the, I think that's the other thing about the Boba Fett thing is it's illogical for him to exist. Like he exists because fans loved his costume. That's the only reason he exists in the universe. It wasn't like some story plot. It wasn't some interesting thing. It's like, nah, he just survived the acid because he had cool armor on. It's like, come on. At least like have someone save him or something. And then, and this is going to sound horrible because, I'm a horrible person. And this is maybe why Obi-Wan Kenobi series, I'll probably give it a watch. I don't think the actor that plays Boba Fett's that good of an actor. At least in this series, the last two series, The Mandalorian and this one, I don't get the feels from it. Where at least, and so Obi-Wan, I like
Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, so like I'm probably gonna watch it just because I know I like his acting. So like I'll give him the chance. But I fizzled out after episode 2, and I just can't even think about spending 30 minutes, well, multiple 30 minutes, I guess, of my life watching it.
Yeah. So.
Yay? On that happy
Yeah.
note.
On that happy note, if you want to get at us, you can Instagram us at No Life Kings. You can Twitter us at NLK_podcast. And you can email us at podcast@nolifekings.com. We will read all your hateful mail.
Probably most people hate me.
Or love you. You don't know. You can just be divisive on both sides.
It's true.
So, yeah, I guess that's it for today. As Case would say, cheers.
Buongiorno.